In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up conditional formatting for data visualization. So this is how to set up rules to change the style, read-only, or hide fields in order to make the process and the functionality of your app as seamless as possible. So rules are a function where you can change the state of fields according to an expression. The rules are styling fields, hiding fields, or making them read only. So styles are a great way of emphasizing fields or just making your app look pleasing. I'm going to go through a couple of examples of how you can use styles in order to show your data in a visual way. So the first one is over budget or on budget. If you've got some kind of financial app, it can be good to show if you have overplanned your spend or if you're on budget. Good way of doing this is through rules and styling so that you can set it up as green or red highlighted according to whether it is on budget or overplanned or overspent. So initially what you'll need to do is set up your styles. So in this example, I've gone for a green style and then a red style to show whether it is good or whether there is a problem. So first thing to do is name your style. So I've just put highlight green. You want to apply the style to a field. I've put in a bold font just to make the numbers stand out a bit more. And then the text color is black as it usually is, but this is the main part, is the background color. So you can select whatever color or shade of green that you want. And then similarly, set up the highlight red style. So again, you want to apply this style to a field. And you want the weight of the font to be bold to make the numbers stand out again. The text color I've selected is black, but it may be that white is more suitable depending on how dark the red you're using is. And then the background color of red. So once you've set these two styles up, you can go into the app that you want to create the rule on. So I'm doing this on the risk register. And then I have a few rules set up here. So the first one that I'll do is over budget. So the filter is in OData as shown. So what I have here is that if the planned spend is greater than the budget, then this rule will come into effect. So basically, if this value is more than the budget, then it will show as red. Put in your target field. So I want the planned spend to be either green or red rather than the budget field. And then add in an action. So add a style, and then you've got to pick the style. So in this case, we want red, and we want it on the component because it wants to be the whole field and not just the input section or not just the label. And then save. And then you need to do pretty much the same thing for on budget. So if the filter of the planned spend is IT, which means lower than the budget. So if your planned spend is smaller than the budget, then again, we want the planned spend field to be the one that's highlighted. And then in actions, again, you need to add a style. This time it will be the highlight green, and you still want it to be on the component. So what you've done here is set up two rules that say if the planned spend is smaller than the budget, it's green. If it is larger than the budget, it's red. So once you've published this, this is what you'll see. So if I put in a budget of 100 and the planned spend is 0, the planned spend is lower than the budget and therefore it's green. But if I put in 200, for example, it turns red. So this is a really good visual way of just seeing if you are on track or not. And then in the exact same sense, I've got an example of date due. So we have already set up the red highlighting in styles. So all we need to do for this one is set up the rule. So task overdue. Again, in OData, the filter is if the date due is smaller than the date now. So if the date due is in the past, then you want to target the date due field and you want to add the style. So the style is the same as previous. We want it red and we want it on the component as well. And then this, so after you've published and resynced your app, this will then mean that if the date due is in the future, so let's say you have 2 days to complete it, there's no styling on it. You can style it as green if you'd rather, but I just wanted to leave it as plain. However, if the date due was in the past, it will highlight red. So this concludes the styling section. You can use styling for a whole number of things. So be creative and add the rules and the styling to any fields that you want to highlight or minimize. The next example is hidden. The hidden style will mean that the field that you are targeting will not show in the template. Now, what this means is that if there's any data input into this field, it will not be deleted, it will not be lost. It's just that the field will not be visible to the user. So I have, again, another couple of examples here of how you can use it. So both examples center around it being a conditional kind of question or a conditional setup. So what I mean by this is the first example is if you have a follow-up question. So if you have a checklist or an auditing questionnaire or anything along those lines, you might have a question where it says, did you encounter any problems or were there any issues to fix or repairs or anything along those lines? And then you've got a yes or no answer. Now, if you have the answer of yes, you want to be able to see, if so, what were these, so that the user can then input their answer. But if you click no, there is no point in having that follow-up question there because there's nothing for them to write down. So this is where the hidden rule can really work well. Going into the rules, I've set up one, I've just called it yes problems. So the filter is, did you encounter any problems, which is this field here, equals no. And if the answer is no, then the target field is the follow-up question, if so, what were these? And you want it to hide. So this means that any time that this question is answered with a no, the if so, what were these will be hidden. And for this action, it's a bit simpler than the styles. You just click hidden and that's it. So then when you go back into your app, you should be able to see it like this. Did you encounter any problems? Yes. If so, what were these? And then you can write down what the issues were. But if you click no, the field is just hidden. If I click yes again, the data comes back. So like I said, any data that was in that field that is then hidden is still there and it is still accessible. It's just put out of view. Along the same kind of lines, you may have a question where the user has to input their team or the specific location that they're at, and then maybe there are fields that are specific to that team or that location. And instead of having all of the fields one by one underneath each other, half of which are not actually applicable to that record, you can hide the ones that are no longer applicable once they have selected their team or their location or whatever it is that you're basing this off of. So in this example, I have 3 teams, ops or operations, sales, and HR. And I've got different questions that follow each of these. So for example, in ops, you'd put a customer and then the support that they provided. In sales, you've got a client and then meeting notes. And in HR, you've got the employee and then the complaint details. So to set this one up, you need 3 rules because there are 3 teams. So ops, if the filter is not ops, then hide the ops specific fields. So the ops specific fields are customer and support provided. So I've put those into the target fields and then made it hidden. And then for sales, we have the exact same thing. If the team is not sales, then hide the sales specific fields, the client, and the meeting notes. And again, hidden. Last but not least, HR. If the team is not HR, then hide the HR fields, employee, and complaint details. Once you've set up all 3 rules and you've published it, you will be able to see that by selecting a team, you've got the correct fields. And interestingly, when you create a new record and no one has selected a team yet, like this one, no fields will show. So they will only pop up when you click them. So that concludes the hidden section. And then the very last rule is making a field read only. So when you are in a record and you are able to change field details, you'll be able to see this solid line at the bottom, and that means that it is editable. However, when you have a field that is read-only, like this one, you will see the dotted line underneath. This means that the user will not be able to edit this field. So what I've done here is I've set up an approval template. So this is comments. For example, if you're doing an audit or tracking a specific system, and then you need to make comments on any issues or problems you've encountered. But then once this audit or once the idea that they have proposed has been approved, you don't want anyone to go back in and change the comments, then you can make it read only. So if I unclick approved, I can edit, but as soon as it's approved, it's read only. So in the rules, I have set up this one here, approved. So if the filter of approved, which is this bit field here, equals true, for this one, you don't need any apostrophes or any square brackets because true is a specific value for the bit field. So you don't need to encompass it in apostrophes or square brackets. And then you want the target field to be the comment one, and you want it to be read only. And for read only, same as hidden, you just need to click it and then click save. So this will give you the option of making very specific fields read-only within one template. Another way of doing this would be to make the entire template read-only through form rules. But if you do this, then every single field within that entire template will be read-only, whereas in this case, it's just targeting that one field. I hope this has helped. If you have any examples of how you've used rules in your apps or your site, please do let us know and we can use this as a case study. Thank you very much.